Sivan, happy to be here with everyone. I know I'm spotlighted, but feel free to also be in gallery so you can see the 155, 156 and counting bodies that are vessels for souls who are gathering at the same time right now on this Zoom call. We're in the month of Sivan. We're actually already in the third day, so we're well into the month. And this is a sweet month. We've been working hard. And for those of you who've been coming to meditation every day for the, since Passover, probably you are well aware, we have reached almost the end of the Omer, this incredible spiritual climb that we have been on, and is not easy and involves counting and awareness and harvesting all of the wheat and barley that you all have been planting. Anybody actually planting and collecting wheat and barley? Show of hands. I don't see anybody. But maybe we have some farmers in our community. And the rest of us on this esoteric spiritual climb that I'm sure you've heard many teachers sort of bring in over the past 47, almost 49 days. So just a flash into the Hebrew calendar. 2 months ago on the full moon of Nisan, we had one of the oldest traditions celebrated on earth called Passover, which we explored our freedom. And then last month was the month of Iyar, where we invited in our own healing, because we're on this freedom journey up until this holiday that's going to happen starting on Thursday night, Shavuot, where in order for us to really practice Shavuot, we have to be the most open, most available people that we can be to receive Torah, to receive wisdom, to receive our full potential. So first comes freedom, then comes healing, then comes openness. Because in our Passover, we're actually in our lowest level of freedom. We've just broken out from slavery, and then we need to clean it out. Do some spring cleaning, do some vacuuming, give away some clothes, get rid of baggage that's not serving us anymore. We do that very intentionally with the Omer as a guide, hopefully getting ourselves to where our vessel, our house, our soul, our minds have a lot more clarity and spaciousness to be receiving wisdom that's coming down and coming up and coming from all the sides, starting Thursday night for the holiday of Shavuot. You guys know I love to crowdsource feelings. So my question for the group before we drop into our meditation and reminder to just, when you go into the chat, say everyone to the meetings and not just me, is this question of what are you in awe of right now? Awe. I want to evoke that feeling for the month of Sivan, where we're open, we're experiencing revelation, and it's, spring aligned with Northern Hemisphere. It's a time of real opportunity to stay very open and looking at the world with the brightest, cleanest, squeakiest eyes that are out there, and evoke this human feeling of awe. Oh no, Barbara's telling me that we can't get into the chat. Jet, are we able to open the chat? This is, sorry for not reminding you in advance. I'm the great crowdsourcer. Are we open now? Okay, great. The question is, what are you in awe of? And a reminder to try to send it to everyone so that we can see this. I'm in awe of the way that sound affects my own vibration, of birds migrating, blooming flowers. I'm in awe of lovely colors, the power of gratefulness, being alive and walking on this earth, happiness and peace, humans' capacity for strength and resilience, thoughtful weddings that are overflowing with joy, the sun's warmth. I'm in awe of this community. I'm in awe of nature's ability to adopt and create possibility and reality, of my grandchildren. I'm in awe of how little control I have. I'm in awe of the miracle of a new baby coming into this world. I'm in awe of my ability to forgive and to heal. I'm in awe of my aging. I'm in awe of my body healing after my bones were fractured, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you for answering this question and sitting with me. In a moment, we're going to begin our meditation here. And, meditation, there's lots of different types of meditation. Today, I want to bring us through a guided imagery, which is like a cousin of Vipassana meditation, where, there's meditation where we're in awareness of our breath. And then there's meditation where we're going to be placing our mind on a story. And today I'm going to invite us through that story. It's inspired by this idea that on Shavuot, we are, so 101 Shavuot on one foot, we have arrived at Mount Sinai. We're about, I believe it's Mount Sinai. Check me, am I wrong? Josh, Rabbi, yes, thank you. I'm just a CEO. I'm not a rabbinical student or anything like that. So sometimes I get my mountains mixed up. We've made it to Mount Sinai. We're about to receive Torah, this great knowledge, this great wisdom, the greatest book club of all time, a code for living our lives. And this, as it goes, you are there. I am there. Everyone that's on this call and listening to this Zoom later is there. Actually, everybody that you come from is there. All the generations are there. Every person, people of Israel, is there. Anybody that's joined and walked alongside the people of Israel are there. I don't think that actually people who are not even born yet are there. We are all there. And this guided imagery is going to be an opportunity for us to just take a little tour of the party and see who's there and see what it feels like to be in the presence of everyone gathered together at that time. As always, my meditations are an invitation to go with it. If it's not working for you and you just want quiet sit, just like mute me and we'll come back from the first Kaddish. Otherwise, join me on this opportunity to take a journey through who's there. So with that, ground your feet to the floor. Find yourself in your position of your body that brings you awe for your body. Allow your eyes to close. Just tap into your breath, taking a big inhale, bringing your shoulders up to your ears. Inhale. Exhale, bring those shoulder blades down your back. Actually, like shake out whatever gunk that was into your fingers and just like get it out. I just invite you to take a couple more of those really deep breaths. Plus points if you like make it audible and let the people in your house know that you're meditating. Let your tightness melt away. Your body, my body is in Washington, D.C. Your body's wherever your body is, but I want to invite us to bring our minds on a journey. So imagine that you are at Mount Sinai. See it in front of you. See if you can feel the heat. What does it feel like to be there physically in your body? And if you look in front of you, obviously keeping your eyes closed, you can see that there's a long line of people right in front of you. And then you turn around and you look down the side and you see that there's a long line of people who are behind you. And I actually want you to step out of line and start walking back the line. Right behind you, maybe you see your parents and your grandparents, you give them a hug. And just walk right by them and kind of get to a slow jog where we can just walk back all the way to the beginning of the line. And right there, all the way at the back of the line, like the first people of Israel, first Jews, like Abraham and Sarah are just right there holding it down. And right around them, you can see their children and grandchildren, Isaac, Rebecca, Jacob, Rachel, Leah, all of their children are around them. And just start walking from the back of that line all the way back to your place in line. And notice who you're seeing. Right away, the tribes of Israel, their grandkids, a party. Keep walking, you might see the high priests. Maybe even you spot Moshe, Miriam, Zipporah themselves, the legends. Keep walking down your line. And if you see anybody you want to just stand next to and be in their presence, feel free. Maybe you see some of the judges of Israel, Samson, Gideon, Deborah. You see some of the early prophets, Elijah, Samuel, and all their families that surround them. You see the kings, Saul, David, Solomon, and their families. See the Jews who were living during the times when the Romans destroyed the temple. Get close to them, feel them. At any time, feel free to turn around and look back to where you started in your line, like Abraham and Sarah, way back there. You keep strolling along the lines, you bump into Hillel and Shammai, just like going after it right there in line. And their families. You breeze past Maimonides. Rashi. Yehuda Halevi. Keep going in your line. You see Jews from the Middle Ages in countries that come from all over the world are actually there in line. Jews from North Africa, from Eastern Europe, from Western Europe. Everyone is there at the party. Notice the different clothes and the different sounds and music that's coming from different people in line. You get closer to where you originally started in line. Notice who's around you 6 generations before you. 5 generations before you. See your grandparents in line. Maybe you haven't seen them in a long time. Give them a hug. Shavuot, they're there. Go back to your spot in line and find your heart, your soul, your breath. As you turn back around and see that whole line, notice what it feels like. Maybe you have children, grandkids, nieces, family, friends who are younger than you, who are in front of you in line. See them there. And just peek in front of you a little bit about the potential of the possibility of the line continuing and how much space there is for more people to come, even if they're not physically there yet. And in our last couple of minutes here together, sit with what it feels like to all be there at Mount Sinai together. Every soul contributing, your soul contributing. The last exercise of our guided imagery with everyone there is imagining every parent giving the next generation, whether or not they actually had children or not, every generation giving the next generations the Friday night blessing that parents give to children, the priestly blessing from one generation to the next, a collective blessing of generation to generation. Imagine yourself receiving it and giving it. Take your hands and bring a little friction to them. Give a little heat. And place it anywhere on your body that you want to receive this blessing from generations from before you, compounding on each other. Reminding you that you belong here and that you're part of something very old and that you're loved. Take a few moments to give any other blessings to yourself or any blessings forward to generations to come. And when you feel ready, you can take a deep breath. Allow the corners of your mouth to go up to the sky. And gently open your eyes back to this Zoom room on the 3rd of Sivan, 5783. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Sarah. I hope you can stick around for a couple of minutes. Everybody, you're invited to share some conversation about that really powerful practice. If you have to leave us, wish you a tzedchem l'shalom. Hope you can farewell and you can return to us same time and channel. We're going to take a moment now for those who are saying Kaddish, holding the memory of anyone today. Want to open the chat, and if you want to share the name of anyone that you're saying Kaddish for today, welcome to, and we'll put the text on the screen. And then if you'd like to unmute, you're welcome to unmute, and we'll say the morning's Kaddish. Yitkadal, Alma, Ra, Hagala, Ivan, Hey, Shmei, Rabba, Olam, Yifarach, Shabbat, Ma'ar, Shemam, Yitkadar, Yitzalel, Yitzal, Hey, Yishra, Ela, Bishirata, Dushkachata, Zan, Alma, Hey, Mama, Rabba, Min, Shemaya, B'chayim,
Yaakov, Yisrael, Amen.
Ose, Shalom, Olam, Lady,
Yaakov, Yisrael, Yisrael, Yeru, Amen.
Hey, thank you, everybody. All right. Sarah, thank you as always so much for helping us deepen into this month. And here we go. Let's see, get the view right. And it was an amazing experience to sort of, go through this long line of ancestors and then imagine them as just a really beautiful practice. And I'd love to hear from folks who are in the chat of, what arose for you as you were doing that, as you were taking that journey. I think there's probably a lot of different experiences that people might have had, right?
I love that. I love the chat. And I think,
Yeah.
Josh, you're the one who might have given me the nickname, the great crowdsourcer.
I think that was Mark. That sounds like a Mark.
And if you have a question, to just put the question in capital letters so that we can kind of see that through all the notes that people want to have. I think reflecting after guided meditations, like reflecting after meditations are sweet. Reflecting after guided meditations is part of the integration.
Yeah.
So I just encourage you to do that, whether or not you share it with all of us or not.
Yeah, there's some really beautiful things that are already coming in. And I think like the notion of like the ancestral relationships that people have, some of the connecting with ancestors that we might not have known necessarily, or who we knew but haven't thought of or had a close encounter with in a long time, right? Yeah, beautiful. And I think you're really tapping into the notion there, Sarah, of like that we were all present at Sinai. This idea of this revelation happened at one point and is this portal, it's kind of time wormhole and we were all there, and it's continually happening now also, right? That the revelation continues to happen.
Yeah, I think, for Shavuot, people are focusing on the Torah, receiving the Torah. And what I was trying to do in our meditation was focus on everyone being there.
Yeah.
And maybe that has more to do with sort of my sense of Judaism, my lens, and the things I'm interested in. Like, this is recorded, so I guess I'm going down as quoted history. I have a harder time and care a little bit less about the Torah than I do about belonging. So for me, actually using Shavuot to be part of an opportunity to be part of something much bigger than myself that is generational, and it put less emphasis on what the words of the Torah are, because they're beautiful. And as one of my teachers, Amichai, from Lab Shul says, they're treasures and there's terrors. That the things that are really challenging in them, I can get kind of tripped up in them, even if I do love studying text. But I think the thing that evokes awe for me even more is that it's just been going on for thousands of years. And by me just participating in a conversation, I belong and I'm part of something. So that's why I wanted to focus on this guided meditation today. Again, take it or leave it. If it worked, great. If it didn't work, I invited you to mute me to actually frame some of your contemplation for this month on obviously receiving divine wisdom and a framework for living your life and everything that text means to you. And also don't forget the part about everyone being there and the party of Sinai and the belonginghood and the generation to generation, even for people who have very complicated and challenging relationships with family members. In the United States, I think the numbers are almost a third of people have an estranged family member. There's a lot of tough stuff in that, and also is there. And by using, imagination and imagery, we're able to hold the relationships that maybe not are physically with us, either people who've deceased or being able to give Miriam a hug. But in your mind, you can do all of those things.
I think it's also, I actually don't think that I don't think it's as countercultural as you might think, because I also think about Ruth as this central story that we also read on Shavuot, right? And which is all about belonging, and even if, and maybe especially if you don't have biological roots in the family, in the people, right? She doesn't say, I accept the Torah, right? What does she say to Naomi? She says, your people will be my people, your God will be my God, where you go, I'll go, right? Etc. And so it's just about being with, it's about being there and being in that relationship and community. And I think that's we sometimes can get caught on the intellectual stimulation of Torah, which I certainly like, yep, I vibe with that. That's great. And if we lose sight of the fact that like that's really an expression ultimately of a love and a connection that spans time and space, we're not getting the full picture,
Yeah. And I said it before the meditation about people who chose to join or walk alongside the people of Israel, but I did forget to say it in the meditation. So I want to just make sure I'm clear now, like, even if you're not like born into a line necessarily, but you found yourself walking towards the line and joining in, or you saw the line from adjacent and you just love the line, everyone's there.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I see that. We have a question. Should we go
Yeah,
to
I
it?
see that. Yeah, Laura's question. Do you consistently feel the presence or connectedness with those who came before you? If so, what helps you to achieve that?
I don't think I consistently feel anything other than, and some of I'm 6.5 months pregnant. So the only thing that I'm constantly feeling is this enlarging body. Everything else is intentional. No, I'm not like born with some sort of like supernatural opportunity to just like be so tapped in all the time. There are things in meditation practices about like micro practices that help me remind myself more frequently to be in touch. And that's what blessings and rituals can do, because they're just, a practice or a diligence of sort of being in the micro practice. And so I think for me, the Friday night blessing is like definitely a opportunity for me to drop into that feeling really deeply. And I grew up in a household where I was blessed by my parents every Friday, and I'm planning on doing that as soon as this baby arrives. And that is an opportunity to connect with generations. I can feel it I come from, my biological parents are my parents, so I look like them. And I even have birthmarks in similar places as them. And so using my physical body to do that for me is a way. I know for people who, are adopted or have different relationships to bio parents versus people who raise them, that might not be an access point for them. And also just, I'm like a spiritual person, and I train myself to do that. So I mean, what if you just used your brushing your teeth as an opportunity to be like, I have teeth, I'm human, where did I come from, who are these people, I'm keeping these clean for like 70 years, I'm working on it, and just like use something that's otherwise not like Jewish, and just had that be your time to just tap in for a couple of seconds a day, or 2 minutes if you're going to use your whole brushing your teeth time, which is what my dentist says to do. 2 minutes to connect with that. That's mine. And if you have an answer to Laura's question, I definitely encourage you to private message her or just put it out in the chat. Josh, did you have an answer?
I'm just noticing there's a nice shout out to It's a Firestone, who has done a lot of really wonderful work on ancestral healing. And I think similarly to you, Sarah, like I find that ritual moments for sure are points of connection. Like, I think of my father, whenever I bless my children, he did that for me, and other sort of ritual moments. And I think about, I actually am very fortunate to have, like, I have the Siddur that my grandfather had that he gave to my dad that, I remember us using for certain occasions. And I think that's one of the really powerful aspects of ritual, is that it provides us this point of connection, whether that's to parents and grandparents or just to a longer line of other ancestors as well, that might be spiritual ancestors. Just the notion that we're doing these things that people have done for hundreds or thousands of years. That's what's so powerful about the Seder or Shabbat dinner or Shavuot, right? So I very much, I think, with you on that one.
Another thing that comes to mind is, and this is not a spiritual concept, but I am deeply aware that I am the most privileged version of all of my ancestors, or at least for this past several hundred years. I am their wildest dreams. Mm-hmm. I am the freest version. I am able to express myself as a woman, as an American, as a Jewish person, as a queer person, as someone who can choose to have a job. I come from a family that gave me more than enough resources to manage myself in this world with the most amount of education that was available to me. And that awareness of that privilege and that opportunity and potential guides me in how I do what I choose to do with my time, which is at the well and bringing forward this lost inherited ritual of marking time on the new moon, and also how I treat my friends and treat the person who cleans my house. And I think that is also a way for me to connect with my ancestors and to be in dialogue with my great-grandfather, Israel Goldberg, who swept the floors of the factory, like to know that his great-grandkids were going to be like this privilege, have this much potential and opportunity. For me, again, this is only my story. Some people might not have that same story. Some people might share that story. It has to do with resources, finances, but it also has to do with the opportunity of expressing myself and my education. That helps me connect with my ancestors also.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. Yeah. I think, and to answer Ricky's question, and then we're going to have to wrap up because Jet has to go staff another, do tech support for another call, another program. But I think Ricky had this question about belonging, right? This sort of really profound need that we seem to feel, so many people in so many parts of the world, for a sense of belonging that comes perhaps after a sense of alienation. The irony of living at a time when we are more interconnected than we've ever been, and also more isolated than we've ever been. And I think that, as you're pointing to, Sarah, like ritual, I would argue also like text study as well, Torah study, are these points of belonging, of remembering, of reconnecting, and feeling that sense of belonging. And you closed your practice, Sarah, with imagining all these people saying to giving us the blessing that we're loved and that we belong here, right? And I think that's just a really, really powerful and very important image. So thank you. Yeah, really beautiful practice.
Thank you for being here. I hope you have a wonderful month. I look forward to seeing you all for Tammuz, which is coming, where we're going to burn it all down. So enjoy this high, the spiritual high of Sivan before we get into the summer months where we get a little overheated.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone.
Everyone, great to see you. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time and channel.